Starship, Falcon 9, and Dragon are just some of the names of the famous creations of the multi-billion-dollar company SpaceX. It goes without saying that if their missions are so prominent in nature, their base will have to match their stature, and that is exactly what SpaceX have done. Today, we'll be going over the Starbase that SpaceX has established in Texas. Why choose Texas as their Starbase? And what were all the problems that SpaceX went through in the acquisition of this property? These and many more questions we will be answering in today's video, so stick around to the end to find out. Starbase is an untamed region similar to the natural preserves that dominate a portion of Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station that is located 1,000 miles west of Florida near the city of Brownsville. Elon Musk, the founder of SpaceX, is in full steam ahead mode here. He not only pays frequent visits to oversee significant operations, but he has also started the legal procedure to rename the location Starbase. On this southernmost edge of Texas, a little city, more of a spaceport town, could emerge from the wilderness one day and join Brownsville. Musk and his crew are putting together, testing, and launching the Starship system, a two-stage stainless steel vehicle that will be the company's future. There are security guards and gates in place, but that doesn't stop curious people from wandering over to get a closer look at Starship and its super heavy rocket, which stands about 400 feet tall and were stacked for the first time this year in August. The 16 million pounds of liftoff thrust promised is more than twice that of the classic Saturn V rocket from the Apollo era by NASA. Those willing to face the oppressive humidity and potholed roads may get up face to face with the hardware that Musk claims will one day transport humanity to the Moon, Mars, and beyond. The area is known by many names, including Boca Chica, Cameron County, and the SpaceX South Texas Launch Site, although Starbase has recently become the preferred title. Fans, journalists, and those simply interested in documenting Starship events are going to the location to experience it for themselves. They also receive direct encouragement from SpaceX personnel, who wave, honk, and congratulate them in person for publicizing their achievements. A man named Nick Ansuini, a self-described indoors guy, arrived from Missouri in mid-July and set his shop on a nearby beach to film Starship events. Standing outside the gate of the launch site, Ansuini told Florida Today, "I'm not an outdoors person. I hate dirt, hate sweating, hate the outside, but here I am, sweating away. But you know what? It's worth it. When you have a goal that's so inspiring and so exciting, you'd be a fool not to drop everything you're doing to pursue that. And I felt that way." When he first arrived, the 22-year-old planned on reserving a hotel, but he noticed others camping on nearby Boca Chica Beach and took advantage of the opportunity to save money. Now he's looking for an apartment in the neighborhood to continue doing podcasts, YouTube videos, and special content for members, among other things. This base has often been compared to the 1960s Florida. Country music plays on the radio in Brownsville's bars. Employees of SpaceX are greeted with hand-drawn signs at hotel lobbies. When you step outside, the extreme humidity strikes you like a wall and soaks through your clothes in a matter of seconds, much like it does in South Florida. Prior to the arrival of SpaceX, this city of 175,000 people on the Mexican border was best recognized for its role in international trade thanks to the port of Brownsville. There is also a campus of the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley here. This year, a 394-foot achievement added to the pride of a city that only a few years ago would have never imagined it would be involved in cutting-edge space technology. Yes, this is when the SpaceX teams stacked Starship for the first time. This included a 230-foot super heavy rocket below and a 164-foot Starship above. Apart from prior test launches, which mostly ended in fireballs, the stacking was the most visible milestone for Starship so far, paving the way for a fully fledged orbital test flight. This stacking made Musk comment, "Dreams do come true. It's an honor to work with such a great team." When completed, Starship will be the world's tallest and most powerful rocket, though it will have to fly a test mission before officially claiming those titles. Depending on readiness and regulatory approval from the authorities like the Federal Aviation Administration, this may happen as soon as next month in January 2022. Musk envisions Starship as the vessel that will transport tens of thousands of people to the Moon and Mars in order to construct self-sustaining colonies. The system is expected to launch from both Texas and Florida, with the latter being hosted by KSC's historic Pad 39A. Although Starbase isn't a direct threat to Florida, it will undoubtedly be the more personalized of the two possibilities, given that SpaceX will eventually manage its own spaceport in Texas. Starship and the Super Heavy will take off from Starbase in the future, fly east across the Gulf of Mexico, and reach orbit before returning to the landing pad. Starship may deliver a payload to orbit and then return to Earth for landing, or it could leave Earth orbit entirely and travel to a distant location. Missions launching from Florida would resemble one another, although the majority of the details have yet to be revealed. Today's heavy lift rockets, including NASA's in-development Space Launch System, are designed for a variety of missions. For example, the Starship's architecture allows for in-orbit refueling after launch, but the SLS is a straight shot to the destination following launch from Kennedy Space Center. However, when it comes to liftoff thrust and the capacity to deliver cargoes to Earth orbit, Starship appears to be unrivaled for the time being. SpaceX's operations in Texas have one big advantage over those in Florida in the long run: access. The Eastern Range is split between Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. However, both are secure federal sites that require correct access credentials. Meanwhile, SpaceX owns and operates Starbase, which is free of military outposts, federally restricted areas, and other restrictions. It offers Musk near unrestricted power to make modifications and push for more rapid or diverse sorts of production. The full-force arrival of SpaceX into the area is vital to the future of surrounding areas like Brownsville. Ramiro Gonzalez, the director of community of the Brownsville government, says, "They definitely put Brownsville on the map. We're proud to be a home for SpaceX and we appreciate all the attention." Gonzalez said his city sees influxes of visitors and a regular stream of workers who are directly and indirectly supported by SpaceX activities, much like the Space Coast of the 1960s. Launches are especially significant because people frequently reserve multiple days in the area in case of delays or scrubs. Hotels are happy, restaurants are really happy, Gonzalez said. The economic ripples of not only employment from SpaceX, but also visitorship is palpable. People can really put their hands on it and prove it. All of this isn't to say that SpaceX hasn't had troubles with Starbase. A small, unincorporated settlement known as Boca Chica Village was home to a few dozen individuals until stainless steel rockets towered over the landscape here. In May, Wall Street Journal published an article that detailed tensions between SpaceX and residents, many of which flared when residents refused to sell their homes to the firm. As the pressure to sell grows, there have been allegations of property theft and general bullying. According to the study, at least 7 residents are still holding on to their properties. What is now the Space Coast was originally just a dot on the map that possibly no one was aware of. Ordinary fishermen lived in their ordinary lifestyles and had absolutely minimal connections with the outside world. In fact, a small cemetery on the grounds of Cape Canaveral Space Force Station predates the construction of launch complexes. Hence, when all of a sudden a multinational corporation decided to take over the village, problems were bound to arise. However, as Gonzalez has said before, that squabbles aside, the Starbase has proven to be beneficial overall to the town and other space companies in achieving their goals by creating ties with SpaceX. That concludes our video, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know what you think in the comments section and make sure to like this video and subscribe. We'll see you next time.